Welcome back to the Street Shaman Podcast. I am your host, Shamanic Poe, aka Poe the Rockstar, and today I'm here with a dude with plenty of hats, right?
Too
YouTube
many.
influencer, musician, model, Twitch streamer.
That's
Pierre
it,
XO,
man.
what's up, man? What's up? What's going on? How you been?
I'm doing all right, man. I'm trying to narrow all of my hats, and I'm trying to see what it feels like without one too. You know what I mean?
How does it feel without one?
You get used to the feeling. Like you wear hats all the time, right?
Yeah, I'm wearing one right now.
Yeah, exactly. So like when you take it off, it feels like something's missing a little bit, but then it's kind of
Right.
like your natural state at the same time. So there's a bit of conflict, but you know what I mean?
Nah, like if I'm not doing stuff, I tried that shit a few years ago. I tried like fuck, I'm not gonna do nothing. I'm not gonna do music. I'm not gonna do nothing at all. I took all my fucking music off the platforms and everything. I never put them back, the old ones anyway. And it just made me feel miserable. It's like if I'm not a musician, I mean I've been doing music since I was a little kid, so if I'm not doing music, it almost felt like I didn't have an identity and
Right.
it knocked me down some fucking, a pillar or two.
And how long did that last? That phase of not doing anything?
Like 3 years, like about 3 years, and it was a miserable 3 years. At the same time, dating like a narcissistic,
Oh, okay, okay.
borderline chick too. At
Yeah,
that,
so that sucked out even more energy. Yeah, man. Like I'm on this like semi break for I don't know, like 8, 9 months, almost like a year already. You know what I mean? And I'm like already going crazy. I couldn't imagine 3 years of it. So what I've been trying to do is kind of like try to like move that creative energy to something else. And so far, like the closest thing is like a bit of the boxing stuff, and then surprisingly, there's like sword fighting in VR. Out of all things.
right, right. So, what made you quit posting on the PXO YouTube channel, or at least like not as frequent as you used to? What was it?
Politics, man. Politicking, dude. It's just like it kind of sneaks up on you because what happened was just like I'm sure you relate, like you just wanted to do music, right? And I
Right,
see you start doing like some more, let's just say like messages about stuff.
right,
And
right,
same here, because like I care about things as well. And
right,
the thing is like it kind of overtook what I was originally planning out to do, which was just music and making creative videos and stuff like that. Because like dramatic episode after dramatic episode eventually became like the social justice stuff, which was like, yeah, of course I care about people from all ends, but then what happened in the last few years, it just fucking went crazy. Like the
right.
whole collective went insane when it came to that, and it became almost everything that I was talking about. So there was like a really crazy disappointment and burnout and like anger and all these other things from that standpoint, because it got to a point where if I'm opening my mouth about opinions that aren't necessarily the most popular, man, it's like, oh, then fuck your art and fuck your creativity and fuck anything you care about, because you don't believe that, I don't know, whatever, then that means you don't deserve a platform or whatever the hell else. And I'm just like, I don't want to play this chess game, man. I don't want to play this game, sort of a thing. So I'm still kind of like thinking about where to go with it exactly, but that's kind of why it happened.
Right. Yeah, definitely. It's one of those things like nowadays you have to pick a side. If you don't pick a
Yeah.
side and you're in the middle, even if you're in the middle and you're like, well, I agree kind of with both of you just get slaughtered from both ends. And
Yeah.
it wasn't like that. It wasn't, I mean, it kind of is like that in certain situations, in certain categories, but not across the board. Where nowadays it feels like everything is polarizing. Everything is a division based. It's like you
Yeah.
either on that side or on this side. Like, what do you think was the straw that broke the camel's back with all that? What do you think was the politics and the panorama and all that?
I mean, for sure, 2020, man. Like that was the last straw that broke the back, for sure, man. Because before that, things were ramping up. Like they were kind of, you heard more and more social justice stuff or political
Right.
stuff, and everything was getting more involved. but people were still sane. You know, they still were able to live their lives without talking about this stuff, and still able to watch videos or listen to music or consume entertainment without talking about it.
Right.
And, you know, I think around 2016 is when things started escalating, but it was still kind of chill. And I think when the hysteria of 2020 broke, it just kind of, you know, opened up the floodgates that everybody had boiling in them already, for
Right.
sure. But that was a definitely like, you know, day and night change just from that point on. But ironically enough, within that year, it was the biggest viewing that I ever had on that channel. And just, I mean, I think overall, other than like maybe the Jubilee stuff a few years back, but other than that, that was probably like the most reception that I've ever gotten on online in general. So, you know, take that for what it is, but that's kind of what happened.
So you had the most success on your channel that you ever seen, and at the same time, we're the most divided that we ever been. And you know, you could have been capitalizing off of that. Like if you was a straight asshole, you could have been like, you know what, fuck that. I'm gonna run this shit to the ground. I'm gonna see how much money I'm gonna get out of this or whatever. And you just decided, nah, fuck that shit. Like, what was it for you that you said, I can't keep playing these games with people?
Well, to be fair, I did fucking monopolize and capitalize that year for sure. Like that year was my money making year, and I did that for as long as I could because I saw the momentum kick. And I think at that moment I was able to be a person to kind of explore both ends before everybody committed to a side. You know, it was just about when people were confused and they were kind of trying to like find answers and find interesting perspectives because no one knew exactly what to think just yet because it was like all new. So I always came in with a bit of like this side and this side, but what about this and what about this? But as the months went on to the end of 2020, people already had their mind made up, and I could see them trying to eat me after that. So yeah. So I kind of just like ran in and just like robbed the jewelry store and just booked it after that. Like I tried to make as much money as I could that year, and then I'm like, nope, I'm done. I'm burnt the hell out after this. So yeah, and then after that, just seeing how people behaved afterwards, especially on my own platform, I'm like, I'm literally entertaining a bunch of people that want to see me killed in the Coliseum. They used to root for me, and then
Right.
now they want the lion's scent on me. So
Right.
before, I think if I would have pushed it harder for another 6 months, like a really crazy thing would have happened. But I just pulled out right before my next big match, I guess, if that makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel you because it seems like a lot of people are like super entitled. Like, okay, I make a podcast for people. I want people to enjoy my fucking podcast. But I would never want to get to the point where the consumer or the audience thinks that they can just like run the show. Like if you
Yeah,
want to run the show, then you get on here and you do this shit. Like why would you know what I mean? Like you
dude.
got to take my sauce that I'm throwing into the pot. Like if
Yeah,
you liked it and you're here because you liked it, now you're like, well, it needs a little bit more salt, and then probably put a little teaspoons of sugar, and it's like, dude, this is not, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
what are you doing?
Hey, any ounce of anger or rage that you feel right now, just let it out. Because I've been like the most angsty I've been in ever since I was in my punk band. Like I've been so fucking pissed recently, and that's a great point. And I don't know if you're already seeing bits of that, but I mean, I mean, even me and Richard would have people in Tentacle Croissant, which was literally started as a project just to, you know, post our silly conversations online because
Right.
like we already talk for hours on end. Like there's some pretty interesting subjects, so let's just leave it up there. Like we're not going to plan on making this huge thing, but it's funny to see the entitlement from random viewers that all of a sudden are like, can you like just cuss a little less? It's a little inappropriate when you do this and do this. And it's like, where the hell did you get your attitude from to think that you can literally walk into someone's house and then rearrange their furniture? Like that's
Right.
fucking ridiculous, you know? And this level of like ownership of other people and other content has gotten crazy. Like, I think a good example of this is Joe Rogan. Like, Joe Rogan did the same thing. Started off doing a podcast with some comedian friends of his and some fighter friends, right? And then all of a sudden, fucking 10 years later, it's the not even the biggest podcast. It's the number one media source
Right.
of the
Show
world.
any show of any type at all, right?
Bigger than news. And
Right.
he was just a dude.
Absolutely.
Right? So you can see his shift in content too, because now people are expecting him to fact check everything, to have somebody on board, to, you know, have some sources of this something. And if you want to make a silly fucking joke, it's not a silly joke. It's like, oh wait, actually behind this, you can get 5 articles written about you. And it's like, that's what I mean though. You want to do some entertainment, some art, you want to make some creative work, but then the entitlement of the collective now expects anybody who just wants to make a thing to become a news anchor, a political pundit, a journalist, a social justice Jesus. And it's like, what the hell? How did I even get into this? This is not what I wanted in the first place, you know?
Right. Now I feel you. It was probably because you were being right too much. You being too right. If you're being too right, then they're like, wait a minute, let me find out where he's wrong. Or if you decide, hey, I got my own opinion on this, and it doesn't fit the narrative of everyone else. It's like, wait a minute, he's going a different direction. Stay back over here. And it's weird because a lot of the people that talk shit, that would talk shit, are not the ones that really are contributing. Like they might be watching the show, but they're not actually supporting. They're not putting their money where their mouth is and giving out donations and shit. You never really get it from people that are donating, being like, hey, I donated, but can you change your fucking act a little bit? Can you stop? Because I want to drink beers. I want to burp on the fucking mic. I want to talk shit. You're not gonna stop me. That's kind of like when I first got on here, was like, no, fuck this shit. I already saw where we were heading. No. We're gonna fucking talk shit. We're gonna burp. We're gonna be who we are, and that's the fucking end of it.
Yeah,
So I understand that.
But like the irony of the people, for example, if you do get donations, they're usually the ones that don't tell you what to do. But it's the people that don't contribute anything to your own content that think that you have to shift it for them. And, you know, it becomes more and more prevalent because I think social media proceeds to just continuously be more boundaryless more and more as time goes on. So the viewers feel like they're also creating something with the creator, but they're not. There's a line to be drawn there, and then the viewers can believe that they know what's best for the work that some other person's doing completely separate from them. And that's probably why so much shit sucks now.
Exactly. Like, I can't remember the actress name, but she was the girl that played Hit Girl and Kick Ass. She was in
yeah. I know who you're talking about.
The last 2 movies that I just watched of her. One was on Netflix. The other one was on Hulu. Straight feminist pop propaganda. Straight up, through and through. You could watch the whole thing, and I love her as an actor because of Kick Ass and because of fucking Zombieland and shit. But like, I cannot watch you try to tell me how life works, where the guy is a dipshit or the guy is like super arrogant and she's over here saving the day and she cannot be touched. It's like, it's
man,
done so terribly. Go ahead.
100%. Like whether it's some feminist stuff, some other race stuff, or LGBT stuff, when it's so overt in your face, when you were just trying to watch an entertaining show. Oops, sorry, the light source went out. When you're just trying to like, consume some art or some entertainment that either distracts you from how shitty things are, or you want to listen to or watch something that gives you more truth in humanity, and then you're bombarded with content that just tells you how to live, that's really terrible. And I think that's a great example of what it means to be an actor, a director, a musician, a content creator, an artist. You're basically a megaphone for propaganda. Like if you want your stuff to be watched, you have to take a role where it talks about the rights of turtles or something. And it has to be like some fucking climate change, Greta Thunberg nonsense, and that's ruining the essence of a lot of art and entertainment, which is void of all those types of
Hmm.
things.
Exactly, exactly. So talking about art and music and shit, what happened with you as far as like not releasing as much music as you once was? Was it as the same as the YouTube thing or something else?
Yeah, it came with the YouTube thing because I mean, in order to get the music scene, I needed the YouTube audience, you know? So it was kind of synonymous, and it got to a point where I think I didn't feel like I was getting enough in return for the effort that I was putting in, you know? I mean, you know how it is. That's life as a whatever creative. And they got to a point where the passion of the process itself just kind of died out for me because I've been doing this for so long, trying to push this shit out there, and the fun of it
Right.
just kind of stops after it becomes a chore and a job. So after a certain position, I'm like, too much time and effort for the risk of people getting even more upset with me and very little reward to come from that. So I think after a bit of time of being burnt out, I'm just like, man, I think about like making the music, mixing the damn second vocal track ad lib and making sure there's enough reverb on the fucking thing, and then like volume mixing levels. I'm just like, I can't do this anymore, man. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. For me, I had to just take it back to where I started and started making music like I once did when I was younger. As far
Mm,
as like, fuck what you want.
mm,
This is what I want to make, and
okay.
I don't care who fucking likes it or whatever. And I'm gonna take my time. I'm not on a schedule like everyone else. I don't need to drop a song every week. I don't need to, all these
Yeah,
things
yeah,
that they fool people to think that they need to do as an artist to keep up. It's
right.
like that's not necessary. I don't need all the streams on fucking Spotify. I don't need to be sending my shit out to all these fucking playlists, and that's a lot of time. It takes money, it takes time. It's like you're sitting there hearing a bunch of no's from people that don't even fucking know music. They're just grabbing everything that's popular now and putting it on their playlist. I
Yeah,
ain't have no time for that. It was like I'm just gonna give out. I'm just gonna put out what I have and what I like to do, and if whoever likes it. And I'm selling CDs. Like you can buy the CD, whatever. And believe it or not, P, a lot of people actually bought CDs and
mm,
spent more money on the CD than it cost. And I was happy with that. I'm not chasing those streams because a lot of motherfuckers think that okay, well you're on Spotify, I'll just listen to it on there. It's like, dude, do you know how much you have to listen to it on there for me to receive $1?
right,
one
right.
dollar,
Yeah,
you got to listen to the album like 10 times or some shit so I can get $1.
for sure, for sure. Yeah, and yeah, that goes in with a lot of the stuff. And I mean, hell yeah, you're killing it, man. Like if you are able to get that physical product and people want to support you directly, I mean, what more can you ask for, sort of thing. So I mean, if it works out like that, like hell yeah. But yeah, like you're right. Like this, the streaming money and all this other stuff is just like, sheesh, man. It really does feel like a upward struggle when if you count on that part of the element.
Right, right. So here's a question. How do you think the social dilemma we're in today has affected the way we create and consume music and
Oh
movie
yeah.
as a whole? How do you
Oh
think
yeah.
it's affecting it?
Yeah, we're already tapping in on it, man. So, I mean, the first
Right,
thing that we just mentioned is like you're forced to be a political spokesperson, and you have to stand up for some cause outside of music, outside of art, outside of creating. And that work is forced to reflect a political message. So that's the number one thing of how things are affected. Number two is that second point we're talking about is like there's too much feedback sometimes. Like people coming in telling you that you can't wear your hat like that, no burping on your own fucking podcast. Like, who the hell do you think
right,
you are? But
right,
you read enough of this shit and it gets in your subconscious. I'm like, maybe if I do want to get other viewers, I'll just like burp less, you know? And that can have a really bad effect because sometimes it's hard to sift what is actually good feedback and what's bad criticism, because I mean, sometimes they could have a point and sometimes they can't, but if you're reading all that shit in real time, it's going to affect how the work ends up overall.
Right.
And most of the time,
Right.
people don't know what the fuck they want. Is like they're like, just be you, and then you be you, and then they leave. So it's like, fuck you. You tell me what you want. You do the thing. You're not even liking it anymore. You know.
Right.
So
Right.
there's that, and then the last point I wanted to make was just like oversaturation. There's
Mhm.
so much content. The good thing about that is that anybody can do it, and the bad thing is that everyone can do it. So
Right.
your good shit could be overshadowed by the same another person doing a similar thing but made it 10 times dumber, and they get the fucking reward. So
Right.
multiply that by a million other people doing the same thing, and that just is like a fucking tornado of content.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's like, what's the new group that just came out this year? Island
Oh
boy. I'm
shit,
an
yeah.
island boy.
Exactly.
Island boy. It's like, dude, everybody's posting it. They don't even know what they're doing. They're putting it up because it's funny and shit. They're helping promote those dudes. Those dudes got record deals. Those dudes, you know what I mean? They're gonna be all right.
Right.
No matter how many jokes you fucking made on them, you help
Right.
propel
Hmm.
their fucking career into
and
existence.
and that's the recipe nowadays. It's not, it's such like a boomer thing to even say, but it's like it's not about skill or passion anymore. It's just being an idiot. But it's true, man. And you'll see. I actually I waste a lot of time on TikTok as well, because I don't know. It's entertaining, mind numbing shit. But what I do see often is that same shit, that Island Boy stuff, and people that like you were forced to make things that are mediocre, relatable, and just silly as fuck because it's the only way to get attention. And you'll see really talented musicians making a meme, a 7-second meme of themselves or something like that. I did the same shit too, and that's what makes you relatable. That's what makes you like visible to other people. And that's the nature of the beast now, but it's to an extreme where Island Boy is the standard of things, and it's gonna continue. It's just like, I don't think it's just gonna bounce back. Like that's kind of the formula now.
Right. Why do you think that's the formula though? Why do you think you have to be a fucking moron, a complete dipshit on camera to warrant any kind of attention? Why can't you just be you, or
Yeah,
be you?
yeah, because it's the only thing people talk about. People just naturally want to be better than others, and they want to talk shit and bully others. So when somebody's acting the fool, everyone talks about them acting a fool because it makes them feel better. And this is a
Right.
thing that I've even said like for a while, is like the talent, the skill, the passion, or whatever the fuck else oftentimes is a threat to an audience. They don't want to see someone that is better looking, more talented, more skilled, or more passionate. That's not what people nowadays want to see. Maybe there was a
Right.
moment in time where good music and talent and skill was appreciated, and everybody would strive to be like that person. Nowadays, man, it's if that's why you get these YouTube haters, Twitter haters, Instagram hate, whatever social media it is. If people see someone that is quote unquote better than them, they would rather just ignore it than anything else.
Right. Yeah, because it's like it just hurts your ego. Ego is in jeopardy. I
Yep.
can't do it. My ego's in jeopardy. I can't look at him. He's too beautiful. I can't look at this. It's too good. No, fuck him. He probably just got somebody. Like, it's always like a cop out. Like, he probably has somebody that pays. Like, or he probably, like, I remember I used to have songs that I used to spend. I didn't spend that much time making the song, but I spent a lot of money making sure the production was great.
Right.
Great songs. Put them out. Oh, that, I think I heard that one before. I heard it. No, you didn't hear it before because I just made it, asshole. The fuck you
Yeah.
mean? I think I
Yeah.
heard it before. No, you didn't.
Yeah.
And it was just like, why do you feel the need to try to bring somebody down a notch because you don't
Yeah.
feel enough or whatever?
Yeah, for sure, man. And I won't lie, it sounds fucking arrogant as hell, but there was a moment in time where I purposely did not show what I could actually do. Like, I purposely did not present anything that looked like it was complicated or technical or talented. I purposely portrayed myself as somebody who maybe just like talked about things, that was kind of like interesting, but just as relatable as you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it
Right.
worked to a certain degree because when I would begin showing stuff that I can do, it was either ignored or hated on or whatever else. People start getting threatened. You know what I mean? So that's not the recipe these days. We live in a culture where it's about relatability. Talent and skill and discipline is not relatable. A lot of those people
Right.
can go fuck themselves in the eyes of the audience. They're like, I don't want to see that. I want to see Island Boy because it makes me feel better.
Right, because I can joke on him. Look at this fucking piece of shit over here. Ha 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 ha. Meanwhile, I'm gonna share it to 400 people that I know and help them get bigger. I
Right.
feel the same. Like I'm the same way. Like there's a lot of things that I can do that I don't really show. Like I can sing. You know what I mean? I used to sing all the fucking time. Now I just don't even sing as much. I'm not saying on record.
Yeah.
In the crib, I don't even sing as much. I'm not focused on it because I know people don't really care about the singing. They don't
Yes.
really they don't care about you having the talent. And the more talent you have, it's almost harder to draw the audience.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. Like what's interesting is like you look at a person like Kanye and I've seen clips where he's in the studio and he tries to sing and it's okay. It's like not bad. But
Mm-hmm.
when it comes out on record, it's purposely done really terribly.
Mm-hmm.
And I know for a fact he does that on purpose because
Mm-hmm.
he's a fucking producer for decades now. And there's a reason why he's purposely delivering his rap lines or his singing style in a way that sounds super raw and off key when there are literally videos of him singing on pitch.
Mm-hmm.
So these things are a conscious decision nowadays.
Yep. Yeah, no, for sure. I've heard Kanye say something, I don't know where he said it, but he said something about like I always keep a corny line there for you. Like, cause it's relatable, and that's the one that's like, oh, look what the fuck he said, stupid. Like, I got the bleach butthole fucking thing that he
Yes.
did, right? It's
Yes.
like he purposely leaves those cheesy, corny lines in there so you could laugh at it, so you could tell other people about this song because look at what he did here. It's
Yeah.
bullshit.
Yeah. Like hurry up with my damn croissant. Like that's what he says in it, and it became like he knows what he's doing. Everybody started repeating it because it's relatable and funny. I mean, hell, I was guilty of quoting these things and being interested in these things too, but it's definitely something to notice because like when the social media thing became the prevalent thing, it gave the power, or I don't even know if power is the right word, but people had 10 times the more influence of what is acceptable or interesting or cool. And most people are mediocre. I mean, I'm mediocre too in a few ways, but it gets to a point where that's the standard of what people can consume because it's not as threatening. And if you
Right.
look at times before, you got icons, man. You got fucking Prince, the Michael Jacksons, the David Bowies, the rock and roll stars of who Nirvana and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and they weren't consistently subjected to mediocre fucking people all the time telling them that can you like scream less, can you dance a little like not as weird, and there's less of that feedback, so they're able to kind of push themselves even further, and then that became the cool thing
Right.
too.
Right. It's fucked. It's fucked, bro. It's just fucked. Let's shift gears a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's go with the manosphere versus feminism and all that shit. So a lot of what I've come across online nowadays is men blaming women. It's the women's fault, and women blaming men. It's the men's fault. Um, what? And no one's taking accountability,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Where is accountability? Like, where is it? where is it for them? Because they can't find it. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's a giant blame game from both ends, and I think both ends have a reason to believe that in their own right. Because in the end, I think what happened was both sides don't feel like they're being heard in their own lives. That's a big thing in general. Because why the fuck are they screaming this and blaming the other thing so much? It's coming from a source of like, there are things that come with the struggle of being a man or woman on either end, and I feel like it's not being acknowledged from other people around me and the opposite gender. So at least this movement that I identify with talks about some struggles that are generally sometimes kind of real, but
Right.
sometimes they go way too fucking far with the damn thing. Then that goes with any movement that you see
Right.
nowadays. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's it just seems like a lot of them are complaining about a person that they dealt with that they probably shouldn't have dealt with, and then they go and just summarize the whole group of that, of that gender or whatever. Be like, they're all bad. Like, no, maybe you are looking for a person that's extremely materialistic, extremely self-centered, and you're trying to fit into their life when you are also extremely materialistic and extremely self-centered yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's like, we're like, find somebody better. There's better people out there. Stop looking at the big booty hoes and thinking like, damn, all these big booty hoes, I would love to fuck them, but why these girls gotta act so stink? Well, because they're doing big booty hole things. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? They're
Yeah.
on OnlyFans. They're getting
Yeah.
money.
You bring up an interesting point that I haven't really thought about too deeply, but I think you're right, and I'm not going to blame social media for absolutely everything, but I think there's a point to be made where there is always somebody flexing as a better deal, So on both ends, you see some fucking Leonardo DiCaprio motherfuckers that got a fucking yacht, right? And then you have on the other end the big booty hoe with the triple OnlyFan follower count or whatever, and people, those things are generally somewhat attractive to the opposite sex, which is the
Right.
most toxic fucking traits. But to be seen in the dating market, or if you want to, to be seen as someone sexy or someone that, people want to be around, you got to kind of turn it up even more. So the men get 10 times more toxic, and then the women get 10 times more toxic, because now it's a competition of like, how much attractive traits can I just ramp up on steroids for the opposite?
Right. 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 It's just it's all fucked. Like I said, it's all fucked.
Totally, man.
Um, and why do you think? What do you think is the driving force behind so many women being concerned with clout and money, as same as men, just being so interested in clout and money, and then wondering and like totally confused about the idea of why they can't find a potential mate.
Yeah, man. I didn't think we would talk about this today, so I'm down, but it's funny. So like again, it's and speaking in generalities, it's obviously not true for everybody. But if you were to generalize, men look for the sexiest girl, right? Like with the fucking craziest all half naked photos and whatever the hell else there. And then the girls usually look for dudes that are like subjectively successful for them. So whatever the fuck that means. Some girls like dudes that are like, straight up business dudes with yachts and whatever else. Some girls like the drug dealers, some girls like the rock stars, right? It's kind of the similar thing, successful, famous, recognized. So, but on social media, it's on crack. It's like ramped up because
Right.
like when you go out in real life, right? How often do you meet somebody with a yacht? You don't. You don't.
Never.
Right. But on social media, you see your college classmate, just a fucking dude who plays video games, and then the account right after that is Leonardo the Johnny Depp, and you can actually message them. So at that point, when people have the opportunity, when they see someone more successful or more attractive in whatever they find attractive, they will go towards the biggest, best deal that they can find. Where before, you would have to be stuck with who you see in real life, So how the fuck you
Right.
gonna run into yacht owning rock star, whoever the hell else in real life? You just had to choose the best of what you saw. But now it's like, here's everybody. Just take your pick, sort of a thing.
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So here's a personal question. You can ask, you can answer it if you want or not. Why do you think it's hard for you to find a girl that you can be in a relationship with or find common ground with? Or are you even looking?
Oh man, I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm pretty just uncaring in general, and like as the flip lord or ex flip lord, I think I burned myself out of that type of situation too. I mean, listen, like I'm willing to acknowledge my bad decisions and who I've chose to be around over the years as well, and I chose a lot of fucking bad people. So that I can't really say much other than I made a lot of particularly bad decisions, but how can I possibly not have this perspective from having those decisions? Like from my decisions, like holy shit, I keep ending up in this. Fuck this. I'm not gonna bother, man, because it just keeps happening.
Right.
Sort of a thing.
But what keeps happening? Are you finding girls that are looking for clout? Are you finding girls that they want you because you're a star, right? You're a star in their eyes. It doesn't matter, like you're not a fucking A-lister, fucking actor or whatever, but you're a star. And they look at you and go, "Oh, I want that person." But when they get into the actual ecosystem of that star, they start to be like, "Wait a minute, this is not what I signed up for because now I got to deal with all these girls that are trying to get with him.
Yeah,
Now I
yeah.
got to."
Oh yeah. I
Right?
mean that's a huge part of it too, for sure. Like what's attractive at first becomes the problem later. So that's definitely one of them, like the competition, like, oh my God, like can you not? And I'm like, well, I can't though, because it's just how it is, sort of a thing. And there's a lot of expectations and almost unrealistic expectations on both sides. But I feel like even on my end, it's kind of like, what do you really want from me? Like I don't understand what you're asking for. And then it comes also like I'm a pretty avoidant person. Like I'm a fucking cat, just like you cuddle me for a few minutes at a time and I'm out the window. I'm a scavenge for some food for like days and I probably won't come back, which is obviously not what a lot of people find very nice in something in an intimate relationship too. So I mean there's a lot of reasons, but those are definitely a few.
Okay, no doubt, no doubt. So, why do you think there seems to be more deceptive and manipulative people out here than ever before?
Ooh. For one thing, authenticity isn't rewarded. It might be rewarded in a smaller scale, but a lot of the time, if you want to be seen, if you want a platform, if you want people to, like you or whatever the hell, a lot of the time it's you have to kind of make a facade, and a lot of like literally like when you post a selfie and you edit the fuck out of it, a bit of it is deception.
Of
I
course,
do it too. I don't want to be seen fucking like I just woke
looking
up.
crusty,
I don't want to be too
right?
crusty, man. You know what I mean? But like an element of it is manipulating your image. And some people, and there was a point in my life where you can just take that manipulation of image too far. And it goes before, but it goes further than just manipulating image. It manipulates your behavior on how you interact with people too. So it kind of trains you to be like, oh, well, if I need to be seen and cared for and rewarded, I have to behave in this way to get them to like me, to do this and this and this. Where I think before, authenticity and honesty are definitely more rewarded. But we live in a very illusionary world now. Everything is about a symbol of something, an illusion of something, a projection of something, and nothing's really grounded. So that's probably why things are more manipulative than ever.
Right, right. I definitely feel a lot of people are just trying to like fill a role. They're like, hey, I'm supposed to like this. I can't like that. And it's been going on for a while, but now it's just cranked up to like 1,000. I can't like this. I can't like that. I have to only like these things. If people ever mention these things, I gotta give you a face. Like, what the fuck are you doing? No,
Yeah.
no, not that. All these different things that doesn't allow people to really truly be themselves. Like, if you saying be you, a lot of people aren't being you.
Right.
You know, they're not being themselves. They're not doing fully what they believe is
Yeah.
them. They're
Yeah.
always, and we're always, tapering it to to the situation, to the current
Sure.
situation, right?
Like, I mean, think about this. Like, it's so extreme at this point because you can, if you say anything slightly questioning a political side, like, you are not seen as a person to them and a group. Dude, imagine, like, you can't even say, hey, I like R. Kelly's music. You know what I mean? Like, you're not saying I
Right.
like him as a person. Like,
His
hey,
music,
yeah, I
his
really
music
like
was
Ignition.
fire.
Yeah, I really like
Right.
Ignition. But that is also a statement that risks you being seen as immoral, disgusting, rapist supporting, like, whatever the fuck, man. And I don't care who you are. No one wants to be seen like that. You know, like,
Right.
I don't, some people have to own it, but you shouldn't have to be like, I fucking own the fact that I like a song from this person. Like, why do you have to make
Right.
it a political stand? Like, you have to put a flag on the floor to just say you like an artist's music. Like, that doesn't it shouldn't be that. It should just be, I just like a song. That's it.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? So it's like,
Right. Right.
no one wants to get ostracized from a group. And people say, I don't care what people think. But when people are literally threatening to outcast you from being with a community of people, and you are seen as less at like a deeper level inside your human programming, you're not made to live like that, and it feels really shitty. And you can fight back, and I'm glad for anybody that does, but why are you fighting back to just like someone's song? You know?
Right. Exactly. So I seen you getting into more of that physical activity. You boxing, you
Yeah.
fucking with the swords, you was fucking with the nunchucks, but then you started to get backlash for posting that you were doing some
Yeah.
boxing shit, for posting that you were fucking with the nunchucks. Why do you think that is? Why do you think you got so much backlash off of just like doing some physical fucking activity?
Toxic masculinity potent.
For real?
I don't know, man. It's probably some of it. I think one of the big reasons, now that a bit of time has passed, is like, it's the complete opposite audience that likes this stuff. Like, they
Mm,
saw me as like soft boy, K-pop, sensitive artist that can't lift 3-pound weights, you know? So to see this thing that you initially thought was a puppy, but was actually a fucking lion brewing inside, was like kind of a huge shock. And it was kind of like, oh my God, sort of a thing. So, and the opposite, I think if I look at it like vice versa, like, if 50 Cent just started wearing makeup and shit, it would probably have the same result in a way. But I think what
okay.
makes it different here is that it's just boxing. Like, don't
Right.
like don't why are you tripping, sort of a thing. So, I mean, without trying to look at it too deep, like, is some toxic masculine trash or whatever, I think it was a huge incompatibility with whoever was originally watching me. So yeah, it was definitely that. And but I just couldn't believe the sheer amount of people unfollowing because of that. Like, and I think another reason is that it's a very like a physical representation of saying, fuck you, I won't do what you tell me. like that Rage
Right.
Against the Machine song. It's not like this soft. I just want to make a disclaimer that I'm not here to try to offend anybody with me hitting this bag, and I would not think of this bag as anybody that you might know, or I'm not marginalized. You know, there's these fucking like 10 disclaimers before someone makes one sentence. It's a very violent image of someone smashing the shit out of a bag, and it can be kind of much for I think what's going on in the culture today's.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, uh, for lack of a better word, pegged you as a different, like,
Yeah.
okay, this guy's wearing makeup. I know exactly who he is. And then you're like, oh, well, actually, I'm going to expand my horizons. I'm going to actually grow as a person. Hey, this is an area that I haven't touched yet. Now let me go fuck with that now. And because you're fucking with it, they're like, wait a minute. Oh, wait, you're leaving the tribe.
Ah, yeah,
We
there's
only believe this. We only do this. We never work out. We're just inherently skinny. Like we
yeah,
just, you know what I mean?
yeah,
I
yeah,
remember when I started to like work out a little bit because I was never the type of person to have some muscles. But once I started to work out a little bit, I was staying with my friend. I heard him. We were in Walmart. He's like, look, he's even walking like a douchebag now to his girlfriend and shit. And it was like,
yeah.
man, fuck out of here. Like, what am I supposed to just be skinny with y'all for the rest of my life? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what are you
No,
talking about?
yeah, no, that's a great point, man. And it's like, yeah, it's threatening to other dudes too, especially if a motherfucker like me like looks like a chick and I've got a deeper voice and now I got muscles. It's like, what the fuck? Like, how does the average guy even react to something like that too?
Right.
So, like, I think you're right. It's a signal that you're breaking out of the tribe that they thought that you were committed to, sort of a thing. And I think it's yeah, it's too much of like visual defiance and like strength for people, because I think also in the audience that I had garnered, they were used to like being validated for being helpless and being
Mm,
sensitive, and that's power. Like sensitivity is power.
right.
Or beating the shit out of somebody who tries to fuck with you is also power too. You know?
Right, right, right. Victimhood is power,
Yeah.
everyone.
Right.
Victimhood.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, chill out with all that, people. Y'all gotta understand there's nuance. There's,
Yeah.
you have the yin and the yang,
Yeah, you know,
motherfuckers.
the irony about that is like there was a moment in time when the dudes who wore makeup were smashing the fuck out of hotel TVs and throwing them out hotel rooms, and they were taking guitars and smashing it on stage and getting fights with the audience that went to see them. You got like Marilyn Manson and Nine Inch Nails, and it's like,
Right,
then now this like image of makeup is like, hey, I'm Jeffree Star, James Charles, and I'm not here to like, and then, you know what I mean? So the
right.
context of it has shifted for sure.
Definitely, definitely. And that's sad because people should see they should know their history a little bit. Like if you're following even a Jeffree Star, you should kind of know why he even started with the makeup stuff, like where that came from.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Uh-huh.
People,
Uh-huh.
people suck. I hate it here. I
Yeah,
fucking
me
hate it.
too, man. Goddamn.
So I seen that you're starting with your VR stuff. You was on VR like what yesterday or day before yesterday or something like that. You were
Yeah,
doing
I've been doing it almost every day. So I'm trying to bring it up on stream a bit because it's kind of a silly way to open up the streams. So yeah.
no doubt, no doubt. So what do you think about Facebook's metaverse? And
Yeah,
how do you think it'll impact society as a whole?
this is a topic I'm super interested in, and I've been really thinking about it in general. And if I were to like kind of redirect my life somewhere, it would probably be within the VR space and just this world. In terms of the metaverse from Zuckerberg, the fact that it's from Mark Zuckerberg is what's shitty. That's the fucked up part. He's not going to use it for a good and in a good way for a good purpose, and it's going to be data mining of people's lives as Facebook is. However, that being said, though, I think it's within the next few years, if not the next year, this thing is going to blow the fuck up, and people have to really start considering, the changes in people's lives and collectively, because the weight of VR is going to be bigger than how much social media overtook the world. And social media has made people's lives 10 times better and also 10 times worse. People got rich and they're able to make businesses and even meet their loved ones through social media. You can't forget that. At the same time, there's more mental health issues more than ever. Harassment and bullying and all that stuff is crazy. But with a VR space that everybody shares, man, there's a lot of benefits too, and there's going to be a lot of consequences. And I mean, we can definitely get into that for sure, but I have a lot of perspectives on this whole thing.
No doubt, no doubt. We'll save that for the next time. Here's a question. What do you think of the idea we must trust the science from the same people who are picking and choosing the science they want us all to know?
Yeah, it's what my thing is about this whole thing is I can't believe how many contradictions that came from medical professionals, from scientists, from government, from spokespeople. How many contradictions? You couldn't even count it on two hands. Big
Right,
contradictions, huge.
right,
Like, these are not stuff that you just like is it's not like, oh, that is magenta, not purple. This is like, you literally said this is how things will fix itself, to that doesn't work in 2 days. And this has been happening for the last 2 years with almost everything.
right,
And for people to somehow still try to like pick and choose what works with them is kind of ridiculous. Perhaps it's time to zoom out and really reflect. Like, try not to look at a side specifically for what it is. Look at how many contradictions and how many times you've heard false info that was literally proven wrong within the same time frame, and think about who you're trusting, and like read what you're reading here. It's so black and white, some of this stuff, man. And
right,
that's basically my attitude on it.
right. Yeah, it definitely feels like people are just like, because I've worked plenty of jobs, I know when it comes down to corporations and shit, what they do is they'll just change rules on a fly. They'll just change guidelines from one week to the next. Hey, now we're not doing that no more. You
Yeah.
cannot do that. If you do that, you get written up. This is what we do now. And I feel like a lot of people are just used to the change. It's the same thing that goes on with social media.
Yeah.
Every time, like, YouTube is changing their guidelines. Instagram changed their guidelines.
Yeah.
Here's something new. Now you do it this way.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people that work in corporate media and corporational fucking jobs, whether it's a fucking gas station or Walmart, whatever, they're so used to things just changing on the fly
Mm.
that they become very adaptive to the idea of things changing on the fly when the authority tells them.
That's really fascinating. I haven't thought about that, but I think you have a really good point there, man. That makes a lot of sense. A lot of these corporate entities and being employed means that you have to be obedient to every little small change that happens, and they can't even question the boss because the money comes from that person. So they just kind of have to move with it. Like, I love it now because I can totally bring up this microchip thing without looking like a complete lunatic. It's fucking
Right.
here. There's a fucking
Yep.
video out. It's literally there. They have it in their hand. 6,000
Yep.
people have the fucking microchip now. What I love about it, I'm not even going to share my opinion about it because I want people to think for themselves, but it literally was looked at like a crazy, insane conspiracy theory 2 years ago. All these people, like, that would never happen. What the fuck are you talking about? Literally, it's here now. And I love posting it and seeing what people are thinking about it, just because they are confronted with contrasting info and they have to make sense of it. So just, and seeing where they go with it is so fascinating, because now they go from that would never happen, that's fucking terrible, I would never do it, that was insane, to yeah, but they're gonna start going, yeah, but you know, it was originally made to like start paying for stuff. And what I assume what will happen very soon is the reason to get one will be it actually helps saving more people, because when you get to the hospital, certain people won't be able to have access to their medical records, and you know, a lot of people don't have their hard copies, and a lot of the elderly lost their records. They're unable to find it, so it's actually a good thing. Oh, are you not getting one? Wow, really, you really don't care, do you? You don't have a chip? Wow, you just really want to slow down our process. It's going to all go that route. And I guarantee it, if this chip thing becomes bigger than it is.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Here's one last question for you, Pierre. Where do you think all this bullshit that we're dealing with today is going to lead us in in 10 years time? There
Fuck,
you go.
man.
What do you think?
I will probably be in a version of the metaverse. I'm not even going to lie. Not even going to front with you. I'm probably going to be doing something like Neo did, you know, just in it somehow, trying to find my way in the digital world one way or another. Because I don't know in terms of politically if the world's going to end, if this side wins, the side is dead. But I will say, I think if I can actually make a reasonable prediction, the VR, the digital stuff is going to be primary in society. So it's going to be time to really think about like the ethics of it, how to approach it, if you want to, if you don't, you know, it's going to be a
Right.
big thing for sure.
No doubt. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind doing the fucking podcast in metaverse. I think that would be fun. I think that would be cool and shit.
Dude, like, I mean, we can change. I don't know if you got extra time today or if you want to do it another time, but
You're fine. Go
yeah,
ahead.
like, there are so many reasons that people aren't considering to join a collective virtual space. Like right now, with everybody in the audience and you and me, we could be in the same room in Egypt, you know?
Mhm.
Like, and people can literally interact, have a little meet and greet there. You and me would, and the technology is going to be good enough where it'll look like we're here. I can share your virtual drink. You can sell your virtual clothes and merch to the audience right after the podcast. And the same with me. We can end up being in a fucking sword fight with the Karen or a troll in the audience. You know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of practicalities that will come from this I don't know, way of living life. And it's scary for sure, but it's going to be undeniable.
Yeah, I feel you. I definitely feel you. Yeah, because there's a lot of pros to it, but the cons that they're not mentioning is going to be severe for a lot
Yeah.
of people. For a lot of people, not for everybody, but for a lot of people, it's going to be severe. They're gonna feel they're gonna feel fucking despair like no one else, because if everybody's having their fucking things on
Mm-hmm.
and you don't really deal with people in the real life, I can only imagine what that's gonna do to somebody's mental state.
Yeah, and the pressure of it is something that's going to happen where you'll have augmented reality. So you have like some glasses that allow you to get in the real world, but you have different, you know, interfaces, like some Dragon Ball Z shit. You know what I mean? So the thing
Right.
is, those people will have such an advantage in everyday life of everything. Like looking at somebody, you can literally like pull up their profile as you're talking to them and like all of these other things. So by not having it, whether you like it or not, you are literally at a disadvantage in society if that's the
Right.
case. So
Right.
you're going to have to compromise somewhere. You move to a community that doesn't have it, okay, sure, or you somehow figure out a balance with it or something else. So I mean, I don't know where that'll lead exactly, but it's going to be a hard thing to say no to, considering that everybody here has an iPhone and a smartphone, and we're doing this online, and you know, so
Right.
yeah, man.
For sure. For sure. Yo, Pierre, let everybody know where they can find you, how they can support you, all that shit.
Pierre XO. If you type it on Google, you can probably find me. in many, many platforms, and I'll just keep it simple there.
Okay, no doubt, no doubt. All right, so I guess we're done here. Thanks everybody for being in the chat. Thanks for everybody who's about to comment later. Make sure y'all like this shit. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Thanks to all the donators, all that shit. This is the Street Shaman Podcast. I am Poe and the Rockstar, aka Shamanic Poe, and this is Pierre XO. And we out, motherfucker.